Thank you all for tuning back in with us here at the Unify Summit. Today we are joined by the co-founder of AgeNation, Sedena Cappannelli, who is an award-winning author of Do Not Go Quietly, along with her newest book, The Best Is Yet to Be. Among others, she's a conscious aging expert, a life wellness coach, and a transformational speaker. Sedena, thank you so much for being here.
This is so cool. I'm so excited to be here. I totally support, as you know, all your work. Unify Fest, everything you're doing, Nathan, is so needed and so beautiful. And I actually, as a conscious aging expert, I believe that elders should lead the charge for, really for sustainability. We've been here longer. And we need to. And I'll talk about that in a minute. I don't want to scare anybody away about age, because from the time you're born, you're aging. So we're all aging. We're all in this together.
Well, and you're a testament to that. And thank you for that. I mean, I love everything that you and George do through AgeNation. I love the programs we get to collaborate on and work together with.
Yeah.
I consider you guys my family, and just love you both so much, but you're a testament. I want to say that you are a testament to, I mean, if anyone were to guess your age, we don't need to play that game, but I'm sure they would guess 10, 15 years, younger, because you live with vitality, with energy, with health, and with clarity, at an age where a lot of people now in America are, unfortunately, unable to get off the couch, or even in wheelchairs, or so obese, or dealing with so many challenges in the physical body that they can't even move. And yet you travel, you teach, you speak, you write, you're so busy all the time, and you walk your talk, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you, and your family to me too, my friend.
So we're super happy for you to be sharing here on the Unify Summit, and for everyone watching today, we're going to be talking about tapping into your best self, no matter your circumstances, and talking some of these points from Sedena's newest book, The Best Is Yet to Be, which is such a great title, and we'll get into that. So. First, Sedena, I'd love for you to share how you began this work with AgeNation, what inspired you, what drives you, as well as Enlivened Aging, and how is it relevant to all of us right now?
I think it's hugely relevant. First of all, just a quick little synopsis. My husband George and I were working with a big client in Florida, and we did this large conference with about 400 people. There were a lot of couples who were holding hands. You could tell they'd never done this work before. It was very sweet. All ages, from about 30 to, actually the oldest was 80, and she got together with a 30-year-old girl, and she'd never had a granddaughter. The young girl never had a grandmother, so it was very cool. And our agent was there, and we worked on looking at the past, looking at your present, and then creating your future, creating a great future for yourself, and not just putting your head in the sand about life or aging or anything. And our agent said, this is your next book. And so we got excited, and we had written 2 other books, Say Yes to Change and Authenticity at the time. And this client sent us to Sydney, Australia for the conference on aging, International Conference on Aging. I found myself in the ladies' room crying. I couldn't come out of the ladies' room. I just remember staring at those little squares on the floor, because the United States was at the bottom of the list, and Singapore and Sweden and all those countries. I get very emotional when I think about it. They were all doing tremendous things for their elders, and we were doing nothing really, virtually, compared to the rest of the world. And it really affected me, and it affected George at the same time, because we're hearing these speakers, and we're in beautiful Sydney, Australia. But we made a commitment at that moment. We had also just lost both sets of our parents, and had to deal with health care and life care, and saw that everything was broken, and we had to start all over, reinvent the wheel. So that's a really short way of telling you it became a huge passion for both of us. And we just said, that's it, we're going to write this book. And we wrote, I've got the book here, we wrote Do Not Go Quietly. And this book is, I'm so proud, has won 9 National Book Awards. And it really is about not going quietly, but making a joyful noise and uplifting yourself and everybody around you at this time of life.
When you say the United States was at the bottom of the list of supporting elders, like what do you mean? What?
Oh, well, I guess that's not very clear. Well, you have to be at the conference. It was like this huge conference, and every day we would hear something more about Singapore did this, and Sweden did this, and all these countries were doing incredible things, new housing. I could just go on and on. It would take the whole interview to tell you all the things that actually we're putting forth now as new ways that we can support our elders. It's part of how AgeNation got formed. But basically that's what it was, and the United States was really at the bottom of the totem pole. It just was embarrassing. So
well, isn't it like right now, it seems that for probably a lot of different reasons, especially the up-and-coming generations, my generation and so forth, look at our elders, our parents, our grandparents, great-grandparents. A lot of people were taught or trained to look at, as you get older, you get decrepit, you slow down, you get Alzheimer's, you get weak, and then we got to put you in a home and take care of you, and you become a burden and all of that, and that's become like normal, right, in our society. How and when did that happen? Do you know? And because it didn't used to always be that way, right?
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing that's interesting, Nathan. I guess in all of human history, the age of 19 is sort of the common denominator age that people live to in all of human history. That's not very old. So we have lived longer and longer and longer. We are sometimes now given 30, 40 years to live, longer than our parents lived. So what we're dealing with is we're dealing with a culture of actually, I hate to say this, but looking a lot, although we've done so many advances in our culture, it's easy to look and notice what's going wrong. It's easy to look at, Uncle Ned died at whatever, so that means I'm gonna, and you hear people all the time condemning themselves to death because their uncle or aunt died earlier, or it runs in my family. I'm going to get this disease because it's just kind of, I'm going to talk about it in a minute. It's about perspective, in my view. What your perspective is really determines how you move forward in the world. So, and the funny thing is, when I was younger, I had this, it was weird, only for a short time in my high school years, I had a real attraction to older people. I used to go down the street to the old person's home, we used to call it, and I would read to them because I always wanted to be an actress, so I would act out things to them, and they loved me. And I would come in and they'd applaud. I just loved them. They were so confirming and affirming to who I was. My great-grandmother was my favorite person, really, when I grew up. She always did that. Oh, honey, Sedena, darling, you can do anything. She was Jewish. She'd escaped from Hitler. I mean, she was like this incredible woman. So it depends on our perspective. I had these amazing people around me who were older who literally fled from Hitler. The rest of them died. I mean, it's not a fun story. And then I have a Cherokee history on the other side, my father's history, and there was a genocide there. So I have a couple genocides going, and it's like, if you take time and you think about your life and you kick back and go, what am I going to do? How am I going to be different? I think that that's everybody's responsibility.
I love that, and I think also, adding to that question, isn't it just as important to ask, how do I want to be if I live, when I'm 70, when I'm 80, when I'm 90, right? Because I know as teenagers, like, at least for myself and my friends, I mean, I was in extreme sports. I didn't care if I destroyed my body. I did,
extreme sports.
tore it up all the time, and got injured all the time. And then now it's like I'm not even old, but it's like now I'm feeling the repercussions and I'm thinking differently. It's like I just started running, as you know, and training for my first ultra marathon, but that's a little bit different because what I've come to learn is that people run 50, 60, 70 years, and they're healthier at 80 than they were at 50 or 40 because of running. So I'm looking at I want to be running when I'm 80 and 90, right? But a lot of young people aren't asking that question today.
Well, you have a different perspective. That's a perfect example. You've always looked at what can I do even further, even more. And so you've sought out older people who have done that. And I think that that's what we need to do now. That's what conscious aging is all about. We've all had ages some are better than others. I remember when I was younger, I had some really good years. Maybe that's why I'm a late bloomer, But it's funny. It's like every year has some good points and some bad points. We learn a lot, we grow, we fall down, we have successes. But what it's really about is being aware, conscious of where we are. And if we have a child who's just born, a 3-year-old who has conscious parents, that child, like your children, are going to grow up consciously. They're going to age consciously. And that's all that is. And it's just an awareness. It's broadening your perspective. It's thinking of if you're going to hike up to a small mountain. First of all, you're in the low valley, and you keep looking up and going, wow, I really want to get up there. And then as you finally, trudge along and you get up there, and it takes a lot of effort. But when you're there, you go, oh my God, I'm so glad I did this because I have a wide view. It takes effort to do anything, and it takes consciousness and a perspective, like right now in our world particularly, that's wider, because it's so easy to look around and find negative things. We're kind of conditioned, some of us, to look for what's wrong in our world, in us, in our life, and negativity is very powerful, and it can get a hold, and it can kind of mushroom, and pretty soon we're caught in it. But you know what? Positive energy is even more powerful. So we have to practice it. We have to practice looking for what's right. Ask yourself every day, if you're listening here, what's right about me today? What did I do yesterday that was great? What's right about that person that kind of bugs me? Find the good things. What's right about our world? What are the places in our world where things are going well, where I could jump in and I could add my talents and my gifts, rather than resisting and pushing against and find, this is wrong, so I'm going somewhere else.
I love that, and I'm practicing that with Donald Trump right now the best I can, because I don't agree with a lot of what he's doing, but I'm also trying to yes, he's a human being. He has intelligence. He's one. If I believe in oneness and unification, then he is me and I am him. And so, I talked about this on a different interview, but I'm practicing in my meditations just hugging him, and because I feel what you're saying is so critical that if we sit there and criticize and condemn people for the bad things they do, we're going to expand that even more in our life and in their life, versus trying to find the good things they're doing. And sometimes it's hard, especially when...
Sometimes it's not that easy, but positive energy really heals, and it transforms, and it conducts love is what it does. And that's what, boy, do we need more love in our world.
Oh my gosh, yes. And I want to go back to something you said a minute ago. So, because you said that, now we're living longer than we have been. And so I want to bring up 2 points on that and ask you about it. One is, especially here in the West, or in the United States, for example, I know, at least the research I've seen, is that people seem to be living longer than maybe their closer ancestors. but it seems that the quality of life is much less. So, if they're in hospice for the last 10 or 15 years of their life, or if they're, have kidney damage or obese or all that, even if they're living longer, their quality of life has gone down tremendously. But then the other side of that too is then we look at like some of the blue zones. I know you know about and speak about on the planet, as well as some of the communities in like the taiga forest of Russia, for example, where it's common. It's been well known, and it's been common for thousands of years that people live 90, 100, 110, 120, 130 years old and healthy at that age, right? So what is that difference there? I mean, why we seem to be living longer and longer here, but quality of life is down, where in some of these other places they've been living that long forever, and yet their quality of life is way up.
Well, that's because, again, well, you know all about that with sustainability and staying close to the earth. I think it's because, we had the industrialized revolution to bring us further progress, to get us more stuff, to give us, all these comforts. So we do all these things that will, we don't take the time to package something up, our sandwich, so instead we do this, and then that leads to the whole story. And I'm sure some of the viewers watching are very, have a really good awareness of all of this. So it just happens by the choices that we make, is what I think. And these people have made choices, some of it not even, it's just the circumstances that they were born in. So I look at it like, there's a quote I love. It says, "I've always known that I would take this road, but yesterday I did not know that it would be today." And it's so true. It's like we are here now. So what are we going to do now with the circumstances that we have to be a little bit more middle of the road like those people? Because literally, what are you going to do if you have 20, 30, 40, sometimes 50 more years to live that wasn't planned? Our government nothing is planned. We just thought, we always looked at we were going to die at a certain age, but what are you going to do with this time, this precious time called your life? How are you going to treat it? That's the question. That's what I'm interested in. And I mean, you couldn't have convinced me 30 years ago that I would be so passionate about conscious aging when I was an actress and a model, and I was just having a blast. And you could not have convinced me that this would be like, I would be so passionate, but I am, because I see the things that you just mentioned, Nathan. People sitting on the we have so many depressed people that are older now, that it's been on 60 Minutes almost every night about the prescription drug addiction, mostly with older people, because doctors keep giving it to them. So we got to stop it. We have to start talking health and wellness and preventative medicine and ways that we can take care of ourselves. And I'm all about, resilience and optimum health and ways. I've created a program called PEP that, really gives you life skills so that you can just be your very best, and you can even be in a wheelchair and do it. There's a lot of things we can do. It's just a matter of choice. How are we going to choose today?
Beautiful. So we're going to take a quick break, and as soon as we come back, we're going to get into some of those specifics with Sedena about how we can actually sustain our wholeness and our wellness as we age. I'm looking forward to hearing more about your programs and what you're doing to stay so youthful, Sedena. So everyone, hold on just a second here, and we'll be right back.
Unify Festival in New Mexico. Beautiful gathering in its first year. I can't even imagine what it will be like next year.
This weekend has been one of the most magical experiences of my festival career.
I still feel like I haven't explored enough after 3 days, so it was awesome.
It has been the most inspiring and heart-centered festival I have ever been to.
All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Nathan Crane, and we're here with Sedena Cappannelli talking about enlivened aging, do not go quietly, and the best is yet to be. And what we're going into now, the first half has been a fascinating conversation and really touched some great subjects. Now we want to go deeper into what does it mean to actually be enlivened aging, or to age consciously, for example. So Sedena's going to share with us some skills and some processes and some various tools that will support us on our path towards enlivened aging and aging consciously. And maybe at the same time, Sedena, you can talk a little bit more about what enlivened aging actually means to you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, it came to me one day because I think I was mentioning in the last portion of our interview that I had done this work. We started AgeNation about 9 years ago, continued doing consulting with large organizations, writing books, doing all this stuff. But what had happened was back in 1990, a very long time ago, I hit a real low point, and I'm sure there's people out there that have had that. It was like a real low point. My mother was dying. I don't need to get into all the particulars, but I would have done anything. Stood on my head, chanted, lit candles, whatever I had to do to get back to some balance. I was really not in a good place. And I followed my heart, and I was led to some incredible energy tools, practices. And I began doing them every day, like diligently. I have a lot in common with you, Nathan. Once I get into something, I just go for it. And I mean, I can remember I lived in Santa Monica, and I was down on the grass, overlooking the ocean, which is in all the movies. Everybody knows it. And I would be down there a couple hours a day, just standing, doing Qigong. So I found it through a master at the time and just kept it up. And then I added all of these other things, contemporary energy practices I had been studying. Because I'm an actress, I never let go of the beauty stuff, so I kept that going and kept, researching longevity. That's how I know a lot about that. Just anything I could get my hands on to learn and grow, to be my best. And what I came up with just recently is this new name, Enlivened Aging, and I went online and that was taken, so I thought, I'll add an E to aging, so it's AGEING, which is the correct spelling for aging, but it's for energy. So that worked out perfect. And it kind of encapsulates, because again, as I said in the first part, we're all aging. It's not a bad thing. It's actually, if we can be conscious about it, drop our expectations about aging. That's huge, because we all have expectations about what it's going to look like. I want to say right now, it can look like anything you want it to look like. It's up to you. You choose that. And just like when we're younger, we form ourselves, when we're in our teens, we look at other role models out there, and that's kind of becomes our personality. We take the good things. Do the same thing as you get older. Just take those things that you really honor and respect about older people. And know that you can accomplish it, and know that you can look great and feel great.
Isn't that so funny? You just brought something up. I want to address it.
Yeah.
It's so funny that when we're 12, we want to be 13. We're 13, we want to be 15. We're 15, we want to be 18 till 21, and then all of a sudden you're 30, and like people are like, oh no, send me back the other way. I don't want to be 31. I don't want to be 50. I don't want to be 51. And it's like. Yeah. That's what you're talking about, right? Is we need to start changing our perspective that it's okay to be 31, to be 51, to be 71, and we need to accept that and acknowledge it and honor it. Because it can mean a lot of really good things, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I mean, what I started to say was this whole thing became a culmination for me of 25 years, so I've given my age away, for 25 years of practice and teaching with a combination of these whole system wellness. And I'm in my, I like to say, second half of my 60s, and I feel better. In some cases, I actually look better than I did in my 40s. Truly. I mean, you know, because I've kept it up, I've added things that really work. I've added extremely good nutrition. You know, I do my practice every morning, and I have this DVD that's now on Gaiam TV being streamed live called PEP, the Personal Energy Program, and it really works. And it's simple. It's just, so I would like to actually give people something. You know, I like to do that. So, first of all, I'm sure that everybody knows that you can't achieve wholeness if you don't keep the body's energy moving. That's really what is determined by energy. Energy equals, you know, movement. It's got to keep going. We have trillions of cells in our bodies. We got to keep them going. So, a small gesture can be the beginning of a lifetime practice of self-care and self-love. So just start with something that keeps it moving. You run, other people out there do yoga, do gardening, get outside, smell the air. Whenever I can do my practice, I do it outside. You know, just do things that make sense, but keep the energy moving. And that's what PEP does. And there's little techniques that I can teach you. I do a coaching program. There's a lot of different things you can find out on my site. And in anything that attracts you, a book, whatever it is, grab it, because you're going to find the thing that's right for you. Because we're all energy. That's all we are. Scientists say if we're 100% energy, this is the part that gets me, only about 4% of it is visible. So that means 96% of the energy around us is invisible. It's immeasurable. It's formless. So what I want to know about is, how do I tap into that energy? You know, because that's our power. And before I forget, I want to say that the best is yet to be is really not a naive statement, everybody. It's determined by your thoughts, because every thought, every word we speak determines our cellular structure, basically. So the best is yet to be according to your beliefs. Let's put it that way, according to how you believe. So again, it goes back to, what do you want to look like? What do you want to feel like? So there's a really simple thing you can do, and because we're not standing up, the kidneys, according to the Chinese, and that's the practice I study, is they're the most important in the whole body. When the kidneys go, they kind of say, well, you're having a rough time. So there's kidney points. If you just drop down from your clavicle, right, your fingers will go right into these little dips. You can feel those. If you cross your hands, it's actually easier, because you're a little too close. Yeah, they're like right, you can feel them. They're like little pockets. Everybody got that? And then
at the bottom, kind of like corner of the collarbone, like.
You're up too high. It's below the collarbone.
Oh.
Go down. There you go. Now do you feel it? There's like pockets. If you cross your hands and go right below your collarbone, you'll feel them. That's the K27 kidney meridian point. If it's a little sore, that means you really need it. You got it, Nathan.
There we go. Okay, so you can almost get like the whole maybe half of the tip of your finger, like kind of flat right there.
Thank you for saying that. That's a really good way to describe it. I have not described it that way. Sometimes I just tap all along the bottom, the whole stretch of my collarbone. That's another thing, because that kicks in the lymph system. The lymph system has no muscle, so if you don't tap it or massage it, things get stuck in there. Yeah, And actually, this is a place where we really need to move. So yeah, so this is great. If you're tired, you've been on the computer too long, you've been driving late, especially after you've traveled anywhere, because all your right and left hemispheres of the brain get switched when you travel. So this is a really good thing to do. What I do is, if it's a little sore, I just massage it gently. You don't have to do it hard. And breathe. And just relax. And let it go. And again, tap all along. This is like the windows to the lungs. You know, when your house is dirty, you open up. What do? Spring cleaning. You open up the windows. Well, this is right below the collarbone is the lymph. Right. And when you do it straight across, you'll hit those kidney points automatically. So sometimes, if you have a problem finding them, you can do that. Then I want to invite you to tap the center of the chest, the thymus. Think of Tarzan and just thump the thymus. You know, or Jane. For all you little girls and big. Because the thymus regulates all the energy systems of the body. So you're literally kicking in your energy by doing that. Okay? It's really easy. That simple little thing will wake you up. And take some breaths. And do you feel anything? I mean, really, it does kind of kick it in.
Yeah. No, I feel. I mean, for me, I just walked in the door before the interview, as I told you, from a 13-mile run. So I'm like, you know, I'm feeling it already. But I can feel a little bit sensitive right here, and I don't think I've ever pushed on or massaged.
Yeah, don't do it too much, but
yeah.
Every day, if you do a little bit, it'll be really good for you.
But an intense exercise will definitely drain your kidneys, so you have to replenish your kidney energy. Absolutely.
That's huge.
Yeah.
And before you run, tap your thymus, and that'll kick in all the energy systems of the body before you run.
So thymus is like just below your collarbone?
Yeah, it's literally, think of Tarzan. That's what, and think about...
I can feel that in the back of my head when I tap it. It's interesting.
There you go. Well, there's energy systems going all the way down. There's a whole thing in Chinese that explains it. But you know, our bodies are so wise. Think about when we see an accident or something happens or we're sad, don't we go, it's like an automatic, the body's automatic response, reflex to take care of ourselves. That's to kick in our energy. So just remember to do that, you know. And
you exercise every day, right? You do some form of exercise.
I do much tongue and this PEP, personal energy program, every day.
In that program, it's a mixture of energy and movement, yeah?
Oh, yeah. It's like, I like to call it sort of a moving meditation. It's not like Tai Chi. I mix it. There's 3 parts. First part is a warm-up. It's really simple. I include this, and I include one more tap. I call it the 4 taps. I include like a reeling, so that you're moving all the joints of the body. Very simple stuff, but it keeps your knees oiled and your ankles, and it keeps you flexible. And then I move into, after the first part, which is more than that, but it's like a warm-up, move into a laying down. I put in some yoga, and I invite people to add more yoga if they want there. A lot of that's just nice stretching. And then the third part is called the standing exercises, and it comes from the 8 pieces of brocade, which is a 8-part wonderful practice that just, what it does is it builds the interior organs of the body. So from my view, I don't know, I've always kind of been drawn to the Eastern. They do everything from the inside out, and we do everything from the outside in, right? And to me, I don't know, I'd rather have my organs really strong, you know, on the inside. And when you're healthy and whole on the inside, it shows on the outside. It really does. You look younger, you feel good, your skin is vibrant, all of those things. So, you know what I think I want to do, though, is talk just a second, if we have time, about coherence, because it's so huge in our world right now. Everybody needs balance and coherence, and it will create resilience in the body. So what it is, for optimal wellness, the greatest impact, if you think about it, on the health of our body is the quality of the signal between our heart and our brain. So every cell responds to every thought we think, every word we speak. Our cells are just like little active, they're just listening, and they're just doing what we tell them to do, you know? So if your heart is anxious, or you're troubled, or whatever it is, you're sending those signals to your brain, and then the brain is releasing those harmful chemicals, right? And when you're thinking, you know, compassion and love and all of those things, then your brain is releasing those beautiful, they're actually like, you know, positive hormones, like a Prozac kind of thing that we have if we want to use it. It's a natural drug. It does, exactly. If we could just be compassionate toward ourselves and everyone else. Again, it goes back to the choice. What choice are you making, you know? So positive signals actually trigger resilience in the body. It's amazing. They've, you know, tested this out. So what I want to do is just a very brief inner smile. It's an ancient practice, and it's so beautiful. I'll do just a quick one. If you just did this every day, you would find such a difference, because what you're doing in this is you're going to acknowledge all your inner organs and honor yourself, because wholeness is just about awareness of all of you. It's like not putting one part of you down, but accepting, and that's a big part of aging. And we are literally critical of each other at every age. You'll see as you get older, it doesn't change. We stay critical of ourselves. And I learned a long time ago, I still have to work on it, but I saw pictures of myself when I was 40, and I remember thinking, oh man, I don't look very good. And I look back now and I go, wow, I look so good. So I stopped that. And I just go, you know what, whoever I am, whatever I am, it's about all of me. And I wouldn't be here now if I hadn't made mistakes, if I hadn't had certain successes. Every person comes to me for a reason. They're there to teach me something, and I'm there to give them something. So what is it? Find out with every person. Don't let them leave your sight until you've given them a gift. And you've gotten their gift. You know, that's also important. So in this inner smile, what I want to invite you to do is take a couple of breaths. We'll take a couple of breaths together. Calm down here. Another breath. And breathe out with a healing sound of ha. Sounds are very healing. That's it. Now know the sound of a baby's voice. Just a soft ha. Yeah. And now gently smile to your big heart. Just authentically go inside and smile to you. And you know your heart opens with the sunshine of your smile. It just does. You can feel it go. And then just allow that healing energy to move all around you. Allow it to expand in front of you and behind you and below you and above you. And feel that you are part of this unified field of energy. And you just kind of lean into it and relax. Breathe. Know that that energy is supporting you every minute of every day. You don't have to do too much. You only need to trust it. Rely on it. It's there. Because we're doing this sort of, I'm going to do a two-part. I invite you to smile now. Send that smiling energy up to your brain. Allow the brain to just be filled with your compassion, loving energy. And let those healing endorphins just float down all the way over your shoulders and down your whole, down the center of your body, down all the organs, the stomach. Smile to all these organs that are working so hard. The kidneys, the intestines, the liver, the spleen and gallbladder, all these organs. All the way down your torso, down your legs, all the way down your feet and out into the earth. And swallow hard as the energy leaves the bottoms of your feet. That's an energy exit point. Breathe and smile. And now send this smiling energy out into the universe. Wherever you are, from your town, out into the world, and then out into the universe. Breathe into that. And now feel the energy of the universe smiling back at you. And feel just loved and cared for, totally taken care of. Take another deep breath. And when you're ready, just very gently open your eyes. Move your shoulders in circles. And then just know in your mind's eye that you can expect good things. Just expect good things. It's a choice. So that's the inner smile. You can do it every single day and a couple times a day. Just come in, because what it does is it helps you to be in your body, which is your home. This is the home we occupy right now. It's our body. So
beautiful. I think the timing. I think the timing was perfect on the phone call. I think the universe was calling you back and saying, "I'm sharing this smile back with you." Thank you so much, Sedena, for sharing those practices, and thank you for sharing your wisdom, and thank you for all the wonderful work you've been doing, and just you're such an inspiration to so many people. So thank you for being here with us on the Unify Summit, and for everything that you do.
Oh, thank you, and thank you everybody who's listening. Just go out there and do what you love to do. Feel it from your heart and do it. Thank you, Nathan.
Wonderful. Well, that's all we have for everybody today. You can learn more about Sedena and her work at AgeNation.com, as well as EnlivenedAging.com, and that's aging, A-G-E, EnlivenedAging.com. Sedena's also welcoming your questions and comments as a coach and as a leader and as an author and a speaker. You can email her directly at Sedena, S-E-D-E-N-A, at AgeNation.com. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you on the next interview. Take care.